The Department of Justice has released more than 3 million additional pages of documents related to its investigation.
The Justice Department released more than 3 million pages of Epstein files, which
Jeffrey Epstein.
On Epstein's relationship.
The Epstein file.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Epstein files web.
Imagine a single image that shatters illusions of power and privilege. A former royal prince, once shielded by crowns and castles, captured in a moment so compromising it forces the world to question everything. 3 days ago, on January 30th, 2026, the U.S. Department of Justice unleashed a torrent. Over 3 million pages of documents, more than 2,000 videos, and 180,000 images from the Jeffrey Epstein investigations. What was promised as transparency has instead reopened old wounds, exposing survivors to fresh pain and scrutiny. This isn't just a data dump. It's a revelation of how the elite navigated a web of secrets, leaving countless lives forever altered. The question isn't what was hidden, it's why, after all these years, the powerful still seem untouchable while the vulnerable pay the price once more. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't born into wealth or fame. He came from modest beginnings in Brooklyn, New York, the son of a groundskeeper and a homemaker. Without a college degree, he taught math at an elite Manhattan school, Dalton, where he first brushed against the world of the ultra-rich. From there, he maneuvered into finance, joining Bear Stearns and later founding his own firm. His only publicly known major client was Les Wexner, the billionaire behind Victoria's Secret, who granted Epstein extraordinary control over his assets. With this fortune, Epstein constructed an empire of luxury and influence. He acquired a sprawling Manhattan townhouse, the largest private residence in the city. He bought a vast ranch in New Mexico, and, most notoriously, Little St. James, a private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands that locals whispered about long before the scandals erupted. He owned a Boeing 727 jet, dubbed the Lolita Express in media reports, which ferried guests across the globe. Epstein's network was vast and star-studded. His address book included former presidents, tech titans, scientists, celebrities, and royalty. Flight logs show repeated travels by figures like Bill Clinton, who flew on the plane over 24 times post-presidency. Donald Trump, who knew Epstein socially in Palm Beach, once called him a terrific guy in a 2002 interview. Prince Andrew visited multiple properties. Bill Gates met with him several times starting in 2011. Elon Musk's name appears in communications. All have publicly distanced themselves, stating they were unaware of any wrongdoing. In 2005, police in Palm Beach began investigating after reports from concerned parents. A raid uncovered evidence of misconduct involving young women. In 2008, Epstein struck a plea deal under federal prosecutor Alex Acosta, serving just 13 months in a lenient arrangement that allowed work release. The deal controversially shielded potential co-conspirators. Epstein returned to his life of luxury. Then, in July 2019, he was arrested again on federal charges. 1 month later, he was found dead in his Manhattan jail cell. The official ruling, suicide by hanging. Malfunctioning cameras and absent guards fueled widespread skepticism and conspiracy theories. His death didn't end the questions, it amplified them. The women who survived the silence. They were teenagers, drawn from everyday lives. High schools, part-time jobs, ordinary neighborhoods in Florida, New York, and beyond. Recruited with promises of easy money for massages or modeling gigs, they found themselves in a world far darker than imagined. Many described feeling pressured, isolated, and exploited in Epstein's homes and on his island. Payments ranged from a few $100s to more, but the emotional toll was immeasurable. For years, these women carried their stories in silence, fearing disbelief or retaliation. When some came forward during the 2008 case, the plea deal felt like a betrayal, the system prioritizing leniency over their voices. In 2019, as Epstein faced new charges, more survivors spoke out in court filings and interviews. They detailed a pattern of recruitment, often through Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's associate who was later convicted in 2021. These women sought privacy as they rebuilt their lives. Courts promised redactions to protect identities, but the trauma lingered. Therapy sessions, strained relationships, constant reminders of a stolen youth. Many pursued civil suits against Epstein's estate, seeking some measure of closure. The 2026 release changed everything. In the rush to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act, signed in late 2025, sensitive details slipped through. Unredacted names and identifying information appeared online. Survivors reported a surge in harassment, threatening messages, online abuse, doxing. One anonymous survivor shared in a statement, "I thought I had moved on, but now it's all out there again." Attorneys for victims demanded immediate fixes, and the DOJ pulled back thousands of pages. Yet the damage was done. Files had already spread across the internet. This exposure isn't just inconvenient, it's re-traumatizing. These women, now adults with families and careers, face renewed judgment from strangers. Their stories, meant to empower, have become fodder for sensationalism. While the release aims for accountability, it has inadvertently amplified the very silence these survivors fought to break. The Epstein Files Transparency Act mandated the release of all non-exempt materials by December 2025. When the deadline passed without action, criticism mounted from lawmakers and the public. Then, on January 30th, 2026, the Department of Justice complied in dramatic fashion. Over 3 million pages of documents, more than 2,000 videos, and 180,000 images were uploaded to a public portal. This batch built on prior unsealed files from Ghislaine Maxwell's trial and civil suits. It included FBI notes from the 2005 raid, email chains, flight manifests, and internal communications. Videos captured scenes from the island, everyday interactions that now carry ominous weight. Images ranged from property photos to personal snapshots. Key revelations stirred immediate controversy. Emails referenced introductions between Epstein and high-profile individuals. Flight logs reiterated known travels. One photograph, in particular, drew global attention. Former Prince Andrew in an unusual pose with a young woman, her face blurred for privacy. Andrew, who settled a civil suit in 2022 without admitting liability, has denied wrongdoing. The release wasn't flawless. Victim advocates quickly pointed out lapses. Some documents lack proper redactions, exposing personal details. The DOJ acknowledged errors and removed affected files, but not before widespread sharing. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche addressed the media, emphasizing the commitment to transparency while noting ongoing reviews. Public reaction was swift. Social media buzzed with analyses, memes, and debates. Some praised the move as a step toward justice. Others decried it as reckless, prioritizing spectacle over protection. Political angles emerged. Supporters of the Trump administration hailed it as bold, while critics questioned timing and motives. This flood represents the largest disclosure yet, dwarfing previous releases. It underscores the scale of Epstein's operations and the breadth of his connections. Yet, amid the volume, clear paths to new legal actions remain elusive, leaving many to wonder if this deluge will lead to real change or just more questions. The documents name drop a who's who of influence, though most mentions are contextual rather than incriminating. Bill Clinton's flights are logged extensively, but he has stated no island visits and no knowledge of crimes. Donald Trump's social ties are noted, but he distanced himself early. His administration oversaw this release. Bill Gates regrets meetings focused on philanthropy. Elon Musk appears in passing communications. He denies deep involvement. Prince Andrew's entries are more detailed, including emails and that now infamous photo. He stepped back from royal duties in 2019 amid scrutiny. Les Wexner, Epstein's key benefactor, cut ties in 2007 and has cooperated with investigations. Ghislaine Maxwell, convicted and imprisoned, features prominently as a facilitator. Other figures include scientists like Marvin Minsky, entertainers like Woody Allen, and politicians across spectrums, all denying awareness of illicit activities. No new charges stem directly from this release as of now. These names highlight a central irony. Epstein thrived on access to power. His gatherings mixed intellect, wealth, and influence. Participants now issue similar statements: regret, denial, separation. The files don't prove guilt, but illustrate how such networks persist. Accountability feels uneven. While Maxwell serves time, many others continue their lives uninterrupted. This disparity fuels public frustration. Why do some face consequences while others do not? The documents raise these questions without easy answers, echoing the survivors' calls for broader justice. The deepest wound from this release isn't the revelations about Epstein or his associates. It's the collateral harm to the women who survived. What began as a push for openness has become a source of renewed suffering. Protected details leaked, leading to harassment and fear. Survivors, who trusted the system with their stories, now see fragments of their past exploited online. This isn't the first betrayal. The 2008 deal set a precedent. But in 2026, with digital permanence, the stakes are higher. Women who rebuilt in privacy face doxing, threats, and judgment. Their attorneys fight for removals, but the internet doesn't forget. The cruelty lies in the imbalance. Powerful names endure scrutiny, but retain freedom and resources. Survivors bear the emotional brunt without equivalent support. This release, meant to expose truths, has instead highlighted systemic failures in protecting the vulnerable. These women were young when it started. Today, they are resilient adults advocating for change. Yet tonight, many grapple with resurfaced pain. In those millions of pages, there may yet be paths to healing and accountability. But for now, the overwhelming sound is of unresolved echoes, doors that refuse to fully open, and a world still grappling with the shadows of the past.